Hello, my name is Osha Dubonica. Today I am happy to talk with Jeannel King about creativity and spirituality in leadership context. Jeannel spent 6 years working as a National Creativity and Innovation Director. She has also founded and owned Big Picture Solutions. Now she is concentrating on her dissertation, which is on creativity and spirituality. Thank you very much, Jeannel, for joining this conversation today.
Oh, thank you, Osha, for having me.
Jeannel, I know you are very much immersed into creativity and spirituality. What does it mean to you?
Right out of the bat, big question. Um, it's interesting. Creativity and spirituality for me are not separate things. Creativity has been thought about for a very long time as producing something that is novel and useful, right? And only recently has the research community gone back to something that's more aligned with what I think of as creativity, which is something more intrinsic, something that is within you as opposed to what you create. So for me, creativity is how you engage in the world, how you see the world, and how you create that world as a result. And this goes back to ancient views of creativity, right? Where it was like, I'm making sense out of my world through these creative means. I am creating stories, I am creating art, I am creating objects to help make sense and make meaning of the world that I experience. And so that's what I take as creativity. Recently, someone described it as being an experience, a willingness to experience the familiar in unfamiliar ways. And I really love that definition of creativity, it being that willingness and a principled engagement to, instead of address what you're used to the way you always do, to open yourself up and to open your perspective up and experience it, engage in a little bit of a different way. And to me, that ties into spirituality, because just as there are so many definitions for creativity, there are definitions for spirituality all over the place as well. And for me, spirituality is that which allows us to connect with something greater than ourselves, to make sense and make meaning of a world that is greater than ourselves, and to return to wholeness.
Therefore, I hope there is, so far as I hear from you, a deep connection between these two, between creativity and spirituality.
Yeah. When I first started experiencing my own creativity, it was through drawing pictures as a kid, telling stories as a kid, and spirituality never really entered the picture for me. I was not raised with religion as a child, but I was a creative child, and I found that I kept going to other people's churches just to be there, and there was something about being in that sacred space that started to blend my need to create with, I'm not just creating for myself anymore. There's something deeper that is coming through me, through what I create. And it's taken me to think about creativity as kind of like the inhale of that which is greater than ourselves. If you think of the universe, if you will, having a cosmic breath, right? That in-breath is our creativity. And the out breath is the execution, the change, the effect that that has. But that in breath of potential and that connection to that which is breathing in the first place is something incredibly powerful in my world. So I view creativity and spirituality as being part of that breathing entity dynamic, if you will. We don't have creativity by itself, just as we don't have spirituality by itself. It's all interconnected. And the way it can connect us can happen purely by ourselves, have it be an internal experience. But the benefit of creativity allows us to bring that dynamic into our workspaces, into our teams, into our families and our communities, or whatever organization we're a part of.
Talking in a leadership context, and I would like to go more deeper into it. So, as you have practical experience working in organizations, you yourself have founded an organization. So, how do you see that creativity, spirituality is influencing an ordinary leader's life?
So creativity and spirituality coming together for leadership affects just about every level of leadership that you can think of, whether it's the decision that a leader makes or how they implement that decision, or the goals that they are striving toward for their company or their team, the things that they value and measure. It's the values and the beliefs and the behaviors that we bring to the table when we are in that space working with others. And for me, that's a very spiritual thing. When leaders and managers are cut off from this internal space that is cultivated through spirituality and through our spiritual practice, our decisions tend to be shorter sighted. They tend to be about the things that we can do instead of the impact that it can have. We are trying to deliver a thing to a client instead of creating something together. And you can see when leaders are willing to look at things with an open mind, which is a trademark of creativity, when they can hold multiple perspectives at the same time. It's another hallmark of creativity. They can look ahead to the future and envision possibilities. Another hallmark of creativity. They can engage in divergent thinking. It's not just one way to do it and it's my way and this is the right thing. Another hallmark of creativity. They can get themselves into a flow state as a result of those processes, which is another marker of creativity. That also, and these things also bridge over to spirituality as well, right? So I see when we can approach our work with a creative mindset or a creative worldview, as opposed to focusing on innovation, for example, in organizations. For innovation, it's all about delivering something new and useful that'll help the company make more money, win more clients, whatever. So it's novel, it's useful, and it has a very specific purpose within the organization. With creativity, it's more about that interior space and how is it that you are viewing the problem? How is it that you are viewing your world? And how does that shape how you engage with it? Same thing with spirituality, those practices, that Jody Fry talks about in spiritual leadership, right? You have a clear vision that is intrinsically motivating you to do something greater, for not just yourself and your company, but for those with whom you are interconnected, which is our whole planet, our whole world. So, yeah, we'll stop there.
Mm. It's so making sense, and it's when I was listening to you, what came to my mind that we are living in times when we are rushing, people are having many things to do, and
Yeah.
to nurture one's spirituality, we need time.
Leaders and managers face so much pressure nowadays. They always have, but our world has gotten so fast. Technology has been changing, faster and faster every day. Our climate is changing. Sustainability is becoming an issue. There are so many other pressures coming down on organizations to make money, to satisfy clients or shareholders or stakeholders. And there's a push from within the business that, no, we need to do good works in the world, to do something great in service to others, in service to something greater than ourselves. And what sort of problems can we come together to solve? How can we inspire and motivate action as a result of that deep-seated belief, that deep-seated purpose or calling that we might be experiencing through our work, or that's getting voice through our work, right? Because our calling, and when I say calling, I mean, you may have an experience that there is something that you cannot not do. For me, it is, I have a calling for working with individuals to help them make their teams, their organizations, their systems healthier. And I do that by blending creativity and my spirituality in service to mundane business problems. But this is something I cannot not do. I have to do it. I've tried not doing it, and it hasn't worked. It just keeps coming back.
What did it happen to you?
When I try to ignore my calling, I feel like I am shutting down inside. One of the markers for my own spiritual practice or spiritual leadership is a quality of spaciousness inside of myself, a quality of inner peace. And when I am out of alignment with my calling, I feel that tension, and it's kind of closing myself down inside. I feel like things are becoming more difficult for me to take action on. Because they're not the right things, and the universe, or whatever you want to call it, is letting me know that. And so when I am able to accept that, yes, okay, this is my work, this is my path, it's funny, it just kind of opens up. I start meeting the people I need to meet. I start having the opportunities I need to have. I start making the contributions I am called to make, and they are being received powerfully and well. The other spectrum of that how do I know, is sometimes I can go from that spacious feeling to, it's just, I've lost my thread, and it becomes too spacious, where I'm thinking of too many possibilities, or maybe I'm putting myself into too many different things, and I start feeling lost and stretched thin and transparent. And when I can bring my focus back into, no, it would be fun to do all these things, but this is where you're meant to be right now. There's that sense of relief, that total spaciousness inside of myself. And then I can step forward with that spaciousness in service to whoever I'm working with, and be able to pull in being the ability to see what we're talking about in a different way. You know, that creativity as experience definition. My spiritual practices allow me to maintain and be sensitive to that quality of spaciousness within myself. It allows me to hear and follow that purpose or calling. That spaciousness marries up with my creativity as experience, because I can, from this place, more easily see through different perspectives, more easily expand my consciousness to, I talk about thinking of problems as looking through a multifaceted jewel. So when I'm spacious enough, I can turn that jewel all kinds of ways and see different perspectives. When I do not have that level of spaciousness, I'm clenched up, and now my ability to see is limited, because now I can only see through one facet. And when I am too scattered, when I'm not maintaining my practice and it's just kind of floating in the wind, then there's nothing for me to really see through, because it's so spread out. So my spiritual practice really helps to maintain the interior state and connection with something greater than myself. And then together we flow through creativity in service to those with whom I work. So,
Thank you for sharing.
Interesting question.
Thank you for sharing. It's so deep and so opening minds.
Yeah. And so we haven't talked about this, but I'm realizing that I've just talked about my spiritual practice quite a bit, but I haven't said what my spiritual practice is. So
if you are comfortable with sharing, it would be helpful. Or if you're thinking from your practical work, what could help other people to nurture their spirituality? Because many people have this question on how do I grow in spirituality in my everyday life? If you have either your own experience or something that helps other people, I would be pleased to hear.
We're not part of something bigger. We are the something bigger. And when I remember this, I can hold that spaciousness. I can drop assumptions and things that are upsetting me. How do I maintain it? I do a lot of meditation. I do less now because I've done so much of it. So instead of sitting for an hour at a time or 20 minutes at a time, I do micro meditations throughout my day. If I am sitting at a stoplight, that red light is a cue for me to, oh yeah, let's return to my body. Let's return to where I am right now and not be, wherever my mind wants to go, and be here and remember what I truly am. And then I keep driving. And then I see Oscar's face. And I can say that is my reminder that we are so interconnected. We are the same. And I can use that as my moment to remember. And shifting my practice from a dedicated, you have to have you have to sit on the cushion for X amount of time every day, to little moments of remembrance throughout my day. That has made a huge shift for me within business settings, because now it's not, sometimes I need to, step away and just get back into that remembering space. But if I'm working with a team and I feel that dynamic in the room, that, there's something a little tough going on, there's something sticking that isn't quite moving forward, I can just stop within myself because of that spacious core and come back and pay attention to, okay, what's really happening here? And that openness and clarity and spaciousness, that my spiritual practice, that practice of remembering, whatever that looks like for anybody else. For me, it comes through meditation. That allows me to serve my teams more effectively. That allows me to tap into more magical places, if you will, that leave people wondering, how did you even come up with that? Well, because I let the waters just become still and I can connect with that which is everything that we already are.
Great.
And then I forget.
Taking the advantage of your daily opportunities, of small moments in your daily life, in your working life, that
Yeah,
be an advice for anyone. A perfect advice. You don't need
yeah.
much time. You don't need to go out
Mhm.
somewhere. Just using
Yeah,
what you have and what occurs to you.
yeah, yeah.
Great.
It makes the bite-size practices done throughout the day seem to have a stronger effect than a long practice done inconsistently, right? If I meditate once a month or once every couple of months for 20 minutes, that's not going to have the same impact if I'm taking 15 seconds throughout my day to just return to where I am and be present and become connected and remember.
What would you, I don't know, advise, suggest, inspire? What comes to your mind? What's for the ones who are listening?
So, one of the things that comes across through all sorts of different faiths is the power of a practicing community. And if leadership, creativity, spirituality come together for you, and you feel yourself that call, that yes, this is right for me, the best thing I can recommend is to find your tribe, to find other people who have similar hearts and minds, because as we spend more time in those environments with those people, we become stronger in our practice. We become stronger at being able to see ourselves clearly and what we're bringing to the table. So if you know Oshra, connect with her, spend time, have conversations. If you would like to connect with me, I'm on LinkedIn at Jeannel King, or Jeannel King is my name, JeannelKing. Feel free to reach out and just strike up conversations, ask questions. The more you start giving this spiritual leadership infused through creativity and service to your organization, the more energy you give it, the stronger it becomes within you. And so find the people, the opportunities where you can build that strength in community. One of the organizations that is fantastic for this sort of thing is the Academy of Management's Management, Spirituality, and Religion subgroup. And if you look them up online, there are tons of people with diverse spiritual backgrounds who are all interested in bringing spiritual leadership or different aspects of spirituality into leadership and management in service to a better world. And so find a group that speaks to you. The MSR group is a fantastic place to start. Oshra is a fantastic person to start with. If there are workshops that you know about, consider going to them and build that network. Start building that community, because the community helps to reinforce and support and strengthen itself. And that will give you the wings to take off with your own work and practice.
Thank you, Jeannel, for reminding this, because this what namely helped me this summer a lot when I got into the Academy of Management and I joined a Massar group. So this is really a lovely environment and lots of support where we met with Jeannel. So
Yeah.
thank you very much for this conversation, for sharing your insights, for opening your heart, your own experience, your intimacy, I would even say, for sharing so deep and precious things with me and with people who are going to listen.
Oh,
So,
thank you for the invitation. It really was an honor and a pleasure to spend this time with you.
so thank you, and I say goodbye to everyone, and let's keep in touch.